Hi, my name's Melissa and welcome to Nerd Alert, where we talk about everything nerdy. So for today's video, I thought of doing a little kind of a book chat. So I'll sit down, I'll have like a little sit down and tell you what I've read and my opinions of what I've read and everything, and probably my review of them and things like that. There will probably be spoilers. So if you have not read these books and you want to read them, then please, if you don't stick around, do stick around. I don't know. But yeah, so let's just get into this. Now, the books that I'll be discussing, the 2 out of the 4 that I have read, I'm currently reading the 3rd one, but I'm just going to speak about the first 2 anyway. So this is the Descendants novels by Melissa de la Cruz. Hopefully I am saying her last name properly. I hope. Now, these books are from the Disney Descendants movies. If you've ever watched those, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't, then that's understandable. I don't think you have to watch the movies to understand these books, but it's kind of because they're in between the movies, so that you won't have to worry about. But if you want to watch the movies before reading the books, like I do sometimes, then by all means go ahead. But anyway, so I'll start with the first book, which is Isle of the Lost. Now this one, it was released in 2015. I don't know, I'm not sure if it was before the first movie or after the first movie that it was released. But anyway, we have our 4 main characters, which is Mal, daughter of Maleficent, Carlos, son of Cruella de Vil, Jay, I was going to say daughter, what? Jay, son of Jafar, and Evie, daughter of the Evil Queen. So this, like I think I've said before, is a prequel. So it's set just before the first movie. In this prequel, you find out that they actually are not friends at all, which is a bit of a shock because in the movies, you know, they're best of friends, they're together, they're thick of thieves, basically. But it's not the case. They don't like each other. I mean, Jay and Mal are close, but like frenemy kind of close. Like she doesn't trust him as far as she could throw him kind of situation. But Carlos isn't really in the picture, and neither is Evie. Mal doesn't like Evie due to something that happened at Evie's 6th birthday party, so that happened. That backstory was basically that Evil Queen didn't invite Mal to Evie's birthday party. Maleficent caught wind of this and basically exiled Evil Queen and Evie. So, and then this is now the book set after that event, the 6th birthday party, and it's 10 years later after that event. So Evie is out of exile and she now goes to the school, which is Dragonhall. Mal catches wind of this and comes up with an evil plan to get back Evie for not inviting her to her birthday party. Mind you, these are middle grade books, so it's understandable about the setting and everything like that. So she has Carlos, whose mother, obviously Cruella de Vil, isn't at home. Out on a spa retreat. She asks Carlos to say, well, not really asked, says like, we're having a party at yours, make sure it's all to my standards, you know, blah blah blah. And therefore the plan is set in motion to get Evie into trouble or like hurt or something, I think, if I remember. But she managed to escape that. So once the party was in full swing, Evie was fashionably late. No. Sorry about that. And Mal catches her and throws her into this kind of empty room, well, not really empty, just very dark room. Carlos and Mal know exactly what's in this room because they were there ages ago. Like, yeah, get a little flashback scene. And so Evie's in there, and she finds out it's like booby trapped because in the other end of the room there's another door that leads to Cruella de Vil's fur coats, and you know how Cruella de Vil was with her fur. So she manages to escape, help with Carlos, and after that he shows her this contraption he made because they're in the Isle of the Lost. If you've watched the movie, you'll know that they don't really have Wi-Fi. They don't have Wi-Fi. They don't have much. They only have 2 TV shows that they can watch. But Carlos was like, I can make this contraption to make sure we can have more TV shows. Like I said, it's a middle grade book. But something goes wrong with the little remote he did, because you get like a 5 little loop of Disney Channel series of like Liv and Maddie. I think it was Dog with a Blog as well. Amongst I think another one, but I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I know it was mainly those two. And then a blast came up from his treehouse that they went into and broke the dome that surrounds the isle, so the villains can't get out for about like at least a couple of seconds, they said in the book. And so that happens, it set off like a magic detector kind of thing, and therefore Maleficent's scepter is reactivated. But in, like I said, because this is the prequel, Maleficent doesn't actually have a scepter, so it kind of like it coexists with, okay, so in the book they've got the scepter, she has a scepter in the movie. So it's that, basically. So yeah, after that, then Maleficent's crow comes back to life, and, you know, back to Maleficent after the like Mal boarded the party, so she goes home. Maleficent's like on her little make-do throne, and says to Mal that, hey, you know, my scepter, this is my crow, you know my crow. He says, my scepter's back, I want you to get it. So she goes on this journey to get this scepter, but she also has a plan to make sure that Evie comes along, due to that, you know, whole I wasn't invited to your birthday party kind of scenario. She wants Evie to touch the scepter to fall asleep, because the person who touches the scepter falls asleep for like 1,000 years, it said. But so yeah, she wants Evie to come along. Jay's like, I can steal the scepter, and Carlos is like, I've got this remote that she beeps when we're close to it. So they all go together, and that's how it is. As it's the 4 main characters, you do get certain chapters for Ben for preparing to become king, basically, because he like talks to the cat, like he's with the sidekick council, like in the sidekick council, listen to everyone's complaints and everything like that. So you see a little glimpse of Ben throughout this book, but it's more towards like the villain kids. So like I said, they found the chapter Evie found the scepter. She had to climb a wall to get it. Mal was like, no! So Mal touched the scepter before Evie did, and therefore Mal fell asleep, but because she has Maleficent blood, she was like only out for like 5 minutes. But then the scepter disappeared, but the crow was following them. The crow was following them, took the scepter out of their grasp, but I don't understand how a crow could do that, because it's a big scepter, but it's a story, it's a book. Hey ho, gives a friendship between them, because they're all like, we did this together, we do this, blah blah blah. we do this together, you know, we can do anything together kind of situation. And then it's left at that, and then you end up with the last chapter being Ben looking out of the Isle of the Lost, and then like, yeah, and then this leads to the movie where Ben invites, you know, the 4 villain kids to Oregon. I do apologise for my rambling. I'm just trying to mash it all into one, so it's not like me telling you, well, I've told you the entire story. So my thoughts of the first book, I thought it was very comedic, very well put together. Like in the book you do get like little villain quotes from each Disney movie, or hero quotes or whatever, and I thought that was really good intake into like pausing between chapters, or pausing between like timelines, like, so say a month later, then they put a little quote in the year later. So I thought that was a really good kind of take on it. However, the characters, I've watched the movies, so I know how the characters act and things like that. Audrey is not like how she is in the books as she is in the movie. She's more of a kind of she's not very nice in the movies, but she's a bit of an airhead in the books. Well, why I come across it, she's quite like a la-di-da kind of up in the air kind of person. It's a bit confusing seeing her in the book and how she's portrayed in the movies, so I don't know where that was from, why they've changed that up a bit. Maybe I'll find out in the next last 2 books, should I say. Overall, I did think it was quite funny, even for a middle grade book. It was amusing. You had some like issues you like knew about the family, and like sort of like insight of abuse that the villain kids got from the parents. I think I gave this book a 4 out of 5 on my Goodreads. I'm not sure, I didn't really write a review on it, but I just thought it was really well put together for the first movie. I still give it a 4 out of 5 rating. So the second book of the franchise is Return to the Isle of the Lost. I think all of them have something to do with the Isle of the Lost. So they're all going back no matter what. I mean, they did in the movies. So this is after the first movie, so it's after they've destroyed Maleficent, and she is a lizard. Again, if you haven't watched it, watch it, and I'm really sorry about spoilers. So everyone's like, oh my god, villain kids, yay! You know, the thought of them are like everyone's just like, you know, they're heroes, yes, they saved us from Maleficent and everything. So you get an insight of their life in Auradon. Mal's dating Ben. Her mum's under guard in the library, and she's a lizard. There's another villain kid that have arrived into Auradon. Freddie Facilier. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that last name right, but that's Dr. Facilier from The Princess and the Frog's daughter. Now, this is confusing because I don't know if they've changed her name then in the fourth book, which is probably because it's there. And it has Hades Ember, and like the Descendants 3 is all about Hades Ember and things like that. Now I don't know, because in the movie, her name's Cecilia, but her name in the book is Freddie, so this is like very confusing. And I should have mentioned that you've got Harry Hook, but in the book it's Harriet Hook, so she's now so I don't know if that's been changed and stuff. And then you had twin Gaston's sons, Gaston and Gaston, but now you got Gil. It's a bit, I don't know whether Disney was like, we need to change this over or what, I have no idea. Freddie's arrived at Auradon, going to Auradon Prep and things like that. Everything's going swimmingly, you know, Jay's doing tourney, Carlos is there as well, but he's also doing his science stuff or whatever, I think. Evie doing her little design. She's now dating Doug. Mal's being Mal, but being much happier and broody self. She has art classes, so she's like designing things in art and stuff like that. And then they get a note for, like, each of them gets a separate note, saying you need to come back to the Isle of Lost and it's going down, blah, 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 you better be here, blah, blah. And so they do, but they have to make up a plan to get to the Isle of Lost. So they have a dance, which is castle coming, homecoming. You know, you have to spruce it up a bit because you're in a fairy tale land. And they advise plan to go there, dance a little bit, and then go. So they do that. They arrive at the Isle, like, fast forward. They arrive at the Isle of Lost. Ben's got problems on Auradon anyway because they've found there's a dragon on the loose and also a serpent on the loose, and he's like,
what's going on? We need to figure out, is it Maleficent? Is it not Maleficent? But she's still a lizard. Is she still a lizard though? Is she faking blah blah blah?
So he's dealing with that problem, and he's gone with Merlin to Camelot. So that's that. Anyway, back to the Isle of Lost. There's an anti-hero club that Carlos found on the dark web. Found this club, and they found when they're meeting and things like that, but turns out it's not an evil club. It's just Yen Sid being like, these villain kids want to be good like you, so we made a club. You then meet a couple more, like Hades' son, Hades' son, yeah, you have Mad Maddie, you have someone else. Yeah, you have some other villain kids. They're all like, yeah, we want to know what it is. We want to be good and things like that. So they find out that their parents, apart from Maleficent, are looking for talismans to set them free. If they have hold of these are evil, blah, blah, blah. So they've gone down to these catacombs and things. So Mal and her friends have to go get these talismans before their parents do. Which they do in the end, you know. They all find it. They have to go through some missions to get it individually, apart from Mal, who was like, we know you're not scared, but you need to rely on your friends for a change instead of always thinking about yourself. They end up trying to get out of the catacombs, and they end up meeting Ben. And then the villain behind it all is Madame Mim from, you know, The Sword and the Stone, if you've ever seen Madame Mim. And she was like, you know, I want to get out of here. I want to be in Auradon. And I want, this kind of thing. So Madame Mim and Merlin have a magic off, like they do in Sword and the Stone. Ben comes to the rescue with Excalibur. Although I thought, like, Excalibur could only be touched by Arthur and also Artie, his son, who you meet. But I could be wrong. So Ben distracted Madame Mim. Merlin had the upper hand and took her back to the Isle of Lost, like with his magic, when it was like bajoop. And took her to the Isle of Lost. And then after that, it explains what was going on. It was Madame Mim all along, like I said before, and they all went home. Their parents were following them in the catacombs anyway, and when Merlin was like, everyone go home with his magic, he took them back to the Isle of Lost. And also they closed off the catacombs, so no one else could go through them again because it's dangerous and things like that. That's like kind of like a really fast, because I'm speaking really fast and I don't know why. But that was like the synopsis, the little bit of the story well, basically all the story again of the second book. Now my thoughts on this, it wasn't until the last 100 and plus pages that you actually got them to go get these talismans. Like, you didn't know it was the plot until near the end of the book, which was a bit disappointing. You know, normally it's beginning, middle, end, as everyone knows that, you know, the middle-ish part you should know by now, but we got it like at the very end of the book that they went to find these talismans. This book was more cringy than the first book, which I found really weird. Like, there wasn't a lot of comedic action towards it. Like I said, it was very cringy in certain places. Although in the book, it looks like Jay has a love interest called Jordan, which is Jeannie's daughter. But in the movies, Jay doesn't have a love interest. He's kind of like a player. Which is, again, Disney changing it up a bit, fair enough. How I read it was he did have some kind of attraction, because in the end of their second book, Carlos and Jay decided to sit with Jane and Jordan. Oh, so many Jays. And so they sat with them, and Mal and Evie gave this like kind of knowingly look to each other. So who knows? Hopefully it does. I want to see Jay have a romantic interest. Because everyone else did, so why not Jay? I gave this book a 3 out of 5 rating on Goodreads. It was a bit disappointing how, I think the only thing that was really disappointing was it was the last 100 pages that you got the actual action to it. The rest of the page was them getting to the Isle of the Lost and then speaking to everyone and finding out about this anti-hero, which is a cover-up group for villains wanting to be heroes. So, yeah, a bit disappointing. But that's my opinions on these books. I do apologise for the rambling. I didn't mean to ramble for so long. But these are my opinions of these books. I am on the third one. Hopefully it picks up a bit better than the second book. I know that this one you read it and then you watch Descendants 2, and then it's the fourth book and then Descendants 3. I think. I'm pretty sure. But I want to see how they involve Hades into it. If Hades, like in the movies, again, Hades is Mal's father, but if he already has a son, then what does it mean? I don't know. I hope you enjoyed this video. I do go on, and I do apologise for that, but it's I talk about the entire story as best as I could, and then my thoughts and opinions on it. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.